Welcome back to our Bible for Kids channel. Today, we have a very exciting and special story to share. How God created the very first people, Adam and Eve. This story comes from the Old Testament, which is full of amazing stories about God, the world He made, and the people He created to live in it. Are you ready? Let's go on this wonderful adventure together. The beginning of everything, a very, very long time ago, before there were people, animals, or even plants, God created the whole world. Imagine a time when everything was empty, dark, and very quiet. There were no colors, no sounds, and no life anywhere. But God is powerful and loving, and He wanted to make a beautiful world full of life and joy. First, God said, "Let there be light." And suddenly, light appeared, shining everywhere, brightening the darkness. This light helped to separate day from night. After making light, God carefully created the sky above us, the deep blue seas, the green grass, the tall trees, and the colorful flowers. He made all the animals, from the big elephants to the tiny ants, so that the world would be full of many living creatures. But even with all this beauty, something very important was still missing: people. God wanted to create special beings who could love Him, take care of the world, and be His friends. God's special creation, people. God's plan was to create the very first man who would live in His beautiful world. The Bible tells us that God made the man's body from the dust of the ground. Imagine God carefully shaping dust and soil from the earth to form a man. This wasn't just any person, though. This man was very special because God made him with His own hands. Then something incredible happened. God breathed into the man's nose the breath of life. Just like when we breathe in air, God gave Adam the very breath that made him alive. At that moment, Adam woke up and became the first living person in the whole wide world. God named this first man Adam, which means man or earth, because he was made from the earth itself. Adam's beautiful home, the Garden of Eden. God didn't just create Adam and leave him alone. He gave Adam a wonderful and beautiful home called the Garden of Eden. This garden was like a paradise full of blooming flowers, tall trees, fresh rivers, and delicious fruits. Adam could walk around freely, explore and enjoy everything God had made. But God also gave Adam an important job. Adam was asked to take care of the garden and all the animals that lived there. Lions, birds, fish, and even tiny insects. All were part of Adam's care. God wanted Adam to be a kind and loving caretaker of everything in this special garden. Adam needs a friend. Even though Adam had this beautiful garden and all the animals, he was still alone. God knew that Adam needed a friend, a helper to talk with, share adventures, and love. So God decided to make a very special companion for Adam. God caused Adam to fall into a deep sleep. While Adam was asleep, God carefully took one of Adam's ribs and from it made the very first woman. She was called Eve. Eve, the first woman. Eve was different from Adam, but just as special. She was made to be Adam's friend and helper. When Adam woke up and saw Eve, he was so happy. He said, "This is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh," meaning that Eve was just like him and very close to his heart. Together, Adam and Eve lived happily in the Garden of Eden. They looked after the animals, picked fruits from the trees, and enjoyed talking with God every day. A special friendship with God. God didn't only make Adam and Eve and give them a beautiful home. He wanted to have a very special friendship with them. Every day, God would walk and talk with Adam and Eve in the garden. They listened to God's words and learned how to live in a way that made Him happy. God gave them one very important rule: not to eat the fruit from a special tree called the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. God explained, "If you eat that fruit, you will learn the difference between good and evil. But you must not eat it, or something bad will happen." Adam and Eve promised God that they would obey him because they loved and trusted him. Why did God give a rule? You might wonder why God gave Adam and Eve this rule. Was God being mean or unfair? Not at all. God gave them a rule because he loved them and wanted to keep them safe. Sometimes rules help protect us from harm and teach us how to make good choices. Just like we have rules at home and school to keep us safe and happy. So, Adam and Eve agreed to follow God's rule because their friendship with God was very important to them. What happens next? This is just the beginning of the amazing story of Adam and Eve. In the next part, something very important will happen in the Garden of Eden that will help us understand why people need God's help and how God continues to show his love for us no matter what. Thank you so much for joining us today on this incredible journey into the Old Testament. Remember, Adam and Eve were the very first people God made, living in a perfect garden created just for them. Don't forget to come back for our next video on the Bible for Kids channel to hear what happens next in this exciting story. If you liked this video, please leave a like, subscribe to our channel, and tell all your friends so they can learn about God's amazing love too. See you soon.